Before we go any further, I was reminded that it is birthday Sunday. So I invite Gisela Bailey forward to help lead our birthday. Unless it was, who is it, Scott? Scott McDonald will lead our birthday Sunday.
So, we're part of Pastoral Care, and Pastoral Care looks after our needs here at the fellowship. And one of the things we do is Birthday Sunday every month, and being the first Sunday of the month. So if you have a birthday in December, come on up, or if you've had a birthday in November and we missed you and you'd like to celebrate, come up. And if you're online, if you would like to put it in Zoom or raise your hand and they'll unmute you, we can do that as well. So come on up.
Who has a birthday this month? You do. Oh, I guess I do.
Okay, I'm Gisela Bailey. My birthday is December 9, and I was born like a year and a half after World War II ended. So I'm going to be 78.
I'm Ellen Severson. I was born December 4th. Not the same year. The same date, but not the same year as Lewis Moulton, yeah. Okay, so, and I'm going to be 70, geez.
My name's Eric. My birthday is December 19th. I will be 61.
I'm Gail Cantak. My birthday's Tuesday, December 3rd. I'll be 72.
Hello, Andrew Schultz. My wife's birthday was yesterday. She turned 48, so she's way older. I don't turn 48 until December 10th. So.
Anybody online?
Yes, Marcy Post has a birthday on the 27th.
All right. So Melanie will play Happy Birthday and we can all sing.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear everyone. Happy birthday to you.
That was so cute. Thank you all. It is time, our time for all ages, so I invite the kids forward. Any young ones or young at heart to come forward to share in our story today. Good morning, everyone. Who knows what I'm holding? Anybody?
I think it's something that sheep herders used to herd the sheep.
Sheep herders used to herd the sheep. It's called a shepherd's crook. Exactly. Well, great. I didn't expect somebody to get it on the first try. Well done. So our story today is about Jesus. It's a story from the Bible, but I'm providing it via the Reverend Erica Hewitt. We are the shepherds. Jesus was a teacher long ago of love and compassion. When Jesus spoke to his followers, it was often about how to share more, love more, and forgive more. Jesus also talked a lot about the great unfolding mystery named love. He called it God, the way many other people do. Sometimes Jesus' followers needed help to understand his teachings, so he told them stories to help them understand. And we call those parables. This is one of the parables that Jesus told his followers. It's about a shepherd. A shepherd is someone who cares for sheep, right? Who makes sure their bellies are full and they're safe from predators. Because a lot of critters would hurt sheep if they could. What kind of animals do you think would hurt the sheep? Wolves. Anybody else? Foxes could. Yeah. Anybody else? Coyotes. Force field. A force field would hurt a sheep. Of course. In the days when Jesus told this story, a shepherd wouldn't have had a fancy pen or corral or anything for his sheep, her sheep. There was no fence to create a big space for her flock. Instead, she would have had to take her sheep out into the hills to fill their bellies. In this parable, the shepherd didn't have just 1 or 4 or 10. How many sheep do you think she had? 20? Keep going. What's more than 20? 50. Keep going. 100. Winner. Can you imagine how loud and smelly it would be to have 100 sheep here in the sanctuary? Come on. I can. At the beginning of each day, the shepherd took all 100 sheep to the hills of green grass and counted to make sure all 100 were there. She could count to 100. That's not always easy to do, especially if you're being distracted by things. At the end of the day, she brought them home again, counting again to make sure that all 100 sheep came home. The shepherd came home one night, counted her sheep, and saw only 99 sheep. She counted again to make sure, and sure enough, there were only 99. And even though it was cold and dark, and there were critters out there in the hills that might hurt a shepherd too, she left the 99 sheep who were safe at home and went out to find the lost sheep who was in danger. When Jesus told this parable to his followers, he was trying to tell them 2 things. First, that the great unfolding mystery that we call love and some people call God loves each of us so much that love always goes to those who are left behind or in danger. And second, we understand ourselves to be part of the great unfolding mystery called love. Most of us who are Unitarian Universalist want to be like that great unfolding mystery. We want to be love's partner and its helper. That means we are the shepherd. When everyone else is safe, we are called to notice the few who are in danger and to go out into the cold and dark to be with them. Love doesn't rest and wait. Love in the form of the shepherd leaves comfort behind to be a helper. So I invite you all to imagine yourself carrying a shepherd's crook, especially anytime you're scared. And remember that you can be a helper. All right? Let's sing our kids off to their activities.
We hold you in our hearts with love, a love as free as skies above, a love as deep as seas below. We love you more than words can show.
We invite you to rise now in body or spirit to join in singing our opening song, number 1009 in the Teal Hymnal, Meditation on Breathing by Sarah Dan Jones. Sarah Nuss Warren will help with harmony, as will I. I will start singing the drone part. Melanie will come in with the melody, and Sarah will add harmony.
So please feel free to sing whatever part you are comfortable with, and we will come in and then back out.
Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out.
When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
Breathe in, breathe out. Thank you. Please be seated.
Our first reading this morning is titled More Than a Cup of Soup by the Reverend Kathleen McTeague. Not far from where I work, there is a little hole-in-the-wall cafe, a good place to pick up a quick lunch. You have to be in the mood for soup, however, because all this place ever serves is soup, accompanied by a homemade bread roll. You also have to be feeling open-minded and flexible because there is only one kind of soup made fresh each day, though sometimes you can also have yesterday's soup at a reduced price. The woman who works behind the counter always looks glad to be there, doing what she's doing, and she often knows her customers by name. Last week, there were at least a half dozen people waiting in line to be served, but she still lingered with an old man at the counter who already had his soup and bread in a paper bag. She asked after his health and then asked about his wife. She commiserated with him when he told her about their illnesses. When she said goodbye, she touched his hand lightly, smiled into his face, and told him she'd look for him tomorrow. It was a wonderful thing just then to be marooned on this little island of calm amidst the impatience, irritability, and general craziness of life, in a place where someone makes her living by patiently shaping and then serving two of the world's most basic and nourishing foods. It can't be an easy way to make a living, and it's surely no way to get rich, but there is serenity in the woman's face. and a gentleness in her voice when she invites you to make the one simple choice available there: butter roll or rye. Watching her at work, it's easy to believe that some small corner of the world's fabric is being patiently, lovingly stitched back together, and that something more gets carried out the door than a bag of bread and warm soup.
Thank you, Suzanne. Let's share now in a ritual that I am calling a spoon communion. It's what you might call a liturgical experiment, and I will explain its origins in my later reflections. In a moment, I will invite those in the sanctuary to come forward, up this aisle, and then down that aisle. As you do, I will speak into your ear a blessing and give you a spoon. If mobility is a challenge for anyone here, let me know. Raise your hand and I will come to you first. Okay. For people at home, if we have your mailing address, we will send you a spoon and blessing, a little something to look forward to. If you're not sure we have your address, please type it into the chat. When we are finished, if we have extra spoons, any parents present may decide if they would like to repeat the process with their children and come take another spoon or 3. And then likewise, anyone with adult loved ones at home. The blessing I speak to you is for you alone. As you return to your seat, please do not share it with others. Let us begin. Thank you all. There is one more step to this ritual, and it will take as long as it takes. When I say begin, turn to someone near you, someone who doesn't live in your household, and slowly trade spoons one after the other, each looking into the other's eyes and offering to them the blessing you received. Begin. You can do it more than once. Thank you all. In days and years to come, when you feel unable to cope with hardship in life, I invite you to pause and breathe, and then to remember this time together. Remember that you have been blessed, consecrated by our sharing. May the symbols, words, and memories of this blessing stay with you through all the trials of your life.
Our second reading this morning is titled Assurances and Affirmations by the Reverend Jamie Yandel. She begins with this quote by poet and activist Andrea Gibson. I said to the sun, "Tell me about the Big Bang." The sun said, "It hurts to become." Recently, a friend of mine was lamenting to me about having a particularly low ebb day, my name for days that are hard for no identifiable reason. The dishes pile up in the sink. Those important emails go unanswered. The clothes don't get pulled out of the dryer and put away. Simple tasks aren't so simple, and everything is harder. As such, my friend was feeling a little down, and motivation was scarce for them. I knew I was supposed to listen and not try to fix anything in our conversation, with one caveat: to help take the edge off. I decided to affirm all of the things I love about them while I witnessed their struggle and pain. My friend and I have a consent culture around this practice. We agreed years ago to affirm one another when the low ebb days hit, in an attempt to help us get out of the funk. I know a little something about those days, days where I don't feel loved, worthy, or whole. When I feel that way, I need love from friends and my community, but it's hard to ask for it. Slowly, my friend began to feel a little better. Then I got a few more friends in our circle to follow suit by sending them uplifting messages of affirmations of who they are and what we so admire and love about them. Our friend then began to tackle their tough tasks, held by the healing balm of our small but fierce, beloved community. They texted me later that night to thank me, telling me how great it was to receive so much affirmation. It reminded them of who they are and why they're so important to this world. Appreciation and deep witness are beautiful gateways for returning to our most authentic selves. That day, it was their turn to ask for help. Tomorrow, it might be mine. The day after, it might be yours. What if we normalized asking for and receiving affirmations more regularly? If you have a few extra spoons, what would it look like to bless a friend who is out of spoons by sending extra affirmation, assurance, and love? Now Melanie will play for us Keep Breathing by Ingrid Michaelson, shared by Sarah Nuss Warren and accompanied by Melanie.
The storm is coming, but I don't mind. People are dying. I close my blinds. All that I know is I'm breathing now. I want to change the world. Instead, I sleep. I want to believe in more than you and me, but all that I know is I'm breathing. All that I can do is keep breathing. All we can do is keep breathing All that I know is I'm breathing. All I can do is keep breathing. All we 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 can do is keep breathing now.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Melanie. How many of you are familiar with the card game Spoons? Oh, a fair number. I wish we'd known that on Friendsgiving. I was reminded of this game when I was planning this service. Usually at family gatherings, when I was a child, adults and kids would sit on the floor in a circle, in the center of which was an inner circle of spoons, one less than the number of players in the game. It's analogous to musical chairs. As the game progresses, the people play their cards, watch the spoons, play their cards, watch the spoons, and surreptitiously at first, and then frantically by the end, take a spoon from the circle. And the one left without a spoon is then out of the game. The winner usually is the one who is most watchful and with the quickest reflexes. And I pray that they don't have long fingernails. But enough reminiscing. Since time immemorial, humanity has relied on artists of various kinds to express, reflect back to us the depth and breadth of emotions of the human experience. And so today we heard one of those expressions, thank you Sarah and Melanie, by Ingrid Michaelson. I don't know Ingrid Michaelson. I'd never heard of her before this. I don't know what experiences led her to write this song or choose these lyrics. But I do know that her expression is universally translatable to the untold millions of experiences that people have had through millennia when they are feeling lost, abandoned, or overwhelmed. Sometimes we can see the storm coming, building tension, anxiety. Some of us hearing this message have directly experienced violence. Some have even served in war zones, and so don't have to imagine. But for everyone else, close your eyes and just imagine the terror of the non-combatants, the innocents, in places like Ukraine or Gaza, wondering if today or tonight that missile will strike your family, your home, and obliterate all you and your loved ones and all you've ever known. I could go on listing other traumas, but you get the idea. And yet, even when we know that people are hurting, suffering, or dying, we might close our blinds and focus perhaps on necessary self-care. Often we don't know what will happen. Perhaps all that we know for sure in such times is that we are still breathing. I've spoken before about managing our limbic response, settling down our amygdala, our lizard brain, when it wants to fight, fly, or freeze, and of how it takes a little time to reboot the brain. So breathing, focusing on our breathing, helps us relax, brings oxygen to the brain, and helps it function fully again. As Michelson sang, we may want to change the world, to believe in more than you and me. We may have hopes and dreams for ourselves and the world, but we also need our sleep. Sometimes we simply may not be up to the challenge. The central value of Unitarian Universalism is what? Love. Okay, and just for fun, what other values do we hold in service of love? Remember the acronym? JETPIG? JETPIG. Justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity, all in service of love. The Reverend Erica Hewitt, in our Time for All Ages today, shared with us a nugget of wisdom from our Judeo-Christian heritage in the parable of Jesus. In this story, the shepherd is attentive to the needs of her entire flock. One sheep in 100 goes missing, and she makes sure the other 99 are safe, and then sets out in the cold and dark and potentially dangerous night to find the lost one. Reverend Hewitt said that Jesus was trying to help his followers understand two things. First, that the great unfolding mystery that we call love and some call God loves each of us so much that love will always go to those who are left behind or in danger. And second, that we understand ourselves to be part of that great unfolding mystery called love. Most of us who are Unitarian Universalists, she wrote, want to be like that great unfolding mystery. We want to be love's partner and helper. That means we are the shepherd. When everyone else is safe, we're called to notice the few who are in danger and to go out in the cold and dark to be with them. We are loved and we are loving. The origins of today's spoon communion come from two sources. No, the first is not from the card game, but from something called spoon theory, and the work of American writer Christine Miserandino from a 2003 essay. In that essay, she describes her experience with chronic illness, namely lupus. And she used a handful of spoons as a metaphor for the amount of physical or mental energy available to her on any given day to perform that day's tasks or activities. The metaphor has since entered the common lexicon to describe a range of disabilities, mental health issues, forms of marginalization, and other factors. I first learned of this concept of spoons from a close family member in the last several years. The second source of today's ritual is based on a powerful experience I had among ministerial colleagues at a regional gathering in 2017. I was still a minister in training, so taking part in that ritual was a great privilege. As I recall, ministers, a handful, 3 maybe, ministers, bestowed blessings on the rest of us, but with a twist. As each minister approached the leader, that leader would ask us what blessing we most needed. And still being insecure in my calling, I asked to be found worthy. It was a deep-seated need for acceptance that went way back to childhood, if I'm honest. And so the leader dipped a finger in oil, touched my forehead, looked me in the eye and said, "You are worthy." I think I spent the next 10 minutes in tears of humility and relief and gratitude. And Grant, mind you, this was 7.5 years ago. A year before I was endorsed by the UUA's Ministerial Fellowship Committee, 2 years before you called me to serve you, and 3 years before you, ordained and installed me. And after a 20-year process of getting to that collegial gathering, the power of being blessed and affirmed as worthy of the title minister by a senior colleague has not left me and never will. And so, mindful that our ability to be present to one another waxes and wanes, ebbs and flows, in a time and culture filled with stress, uncertainty, and current or potential hardship, I wanted us to take a moment to affirm and bless one another. And because the world needs us, and we need one another. There is no greater gift than being present to one another, particularly in our time of need. I'm reminded of this by all the pastoral care needs, and I'm so grateful to our pastoral care team for their work. As Reverend McTeague noted in our first reading, there can be benefits to the person doing the blessing or caring. The woman at the cafe appeared glad to be doing what she was doing, lingering with the old man at the counter who already had his soup and bread, commiserating with him over his and his wife's health concerns. And when they said goodbye, touching his hand lightly, smiling into his face, and assuring him that he was welcome the next day too. It seemed that there was serenity in the woman's face and a gentleness in her voice. To McTeague, the experience seemed like a little island of calm amidst the impatience, irritability, and general craziness of life. An experience in which it was easy to believe that some small part, some small corner of the world's fabric was being patiently, lovingly stitched back together, where something more than a bag of bread and warm soup was carried out the door. Such an experience of love being embodied and shared blesses the receiver, blesses the giver, and indeed blesses all of us. In our second reading, we were reminded that it hurts to become. And we're becoming in every moment, aren't we? That's a lot of hurt. Reverend Yandel identified how particularly on low ebb days, we might feel a little down, or even more than a little down, depressed, unmotivated, and how every task before us can seem harder, at the very least. To help her friend, to help take the edge off such times, even while witnessing their friend's struggle and pain, Reverend Yandel decided to name or affirm all the things they love about that friend, because they could relate. They knew a little something about those days, being in a funk, when they don't feel loved, worthy, or whole. Anyone? When I feel that way, they wrote, I need love from friends and my community. And it's hard to ask. And with such help, the friend began to feel better, began tackling tough tasks, held by the healing balm of a small but fierce, beloved community. I imagine us being a small but fierce, beloved community. Offering and receiving affirmations or blessings with one another reminds us of who we are and why we are important to this world. Quote, appreciation and deep witness, or rather, being the subject of appreciation and deep witness, are beautiful gateways for returning to our most authentic selves. That day it was their turn, tomorrow it might be mine, the day after it might be yours. What if we normalized asking for and receiving affirmations more regularly? If you have a few extra spoons, what would it look like to bless a friend who is out of spoons by sending extra affirmation, assurance, and love? Maybe you already do this. Maybe it's in your nature. Maybe you do this on a regular basis. And if so, thank you from all of us, because it's not always easy. I invite you to breathe in and breathe out, and to consider again a question I posed a few weeks ago. What is love asking of me now? Close your eyes and whisper it to yourself a few times. What is love asking of me now? Good. Hold on to that. Keep that. I will close with a prayer by Reverend Yandel. We are not just flesh and bone. We are stardust. We have stardust in our veins, a reminder that we carry with us the planets that align in our hearts. May we show up for one another. And remember, we are divinity incarnate. May we learn to lean into that pure and true source in each other more willingly, and with a love that will not abandon us and will sustain us for the many hard days that have passed and those yet to come. Blessed be, and amen.
In accordance with our values and the stirrings of our hearts, we now invite you to support our fellowship's mission with your financial contributions. If you wish to pay toward your pledge with cash or check, envelopes are available just outside the door. We appreciate and welcome your donations with gratitude. Thank you. As we invite our offering, we also invite you to reflect further with an excerpt from Kiss the Rain by Yerumi, shared by Melanie. Thank you, Melanie. We invite you now to rise in body or spirit to join in our closing song, number 1012 in the Teal Hymnal, When I Am Frightened, with words and music by Shelley Jackson Denham, arranged by Jeannie Gagne. Sorry.
When I am frightened, will you reassure me? When I'm uncertain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me? Sing to me quietly. Will you share some of your stories with me? If you will show me compassion, then I may learn to care as you do. Then I may learn to care. When I am angry, will you still embrace me? When I am thoughtless, will you understand? Will you believe in me? Stand by me willingly. Will you share some of your questions with me? If you will show me acceptance, then I may learn to give as you do. Then I may learn to give. When I am troubled, will you listen to me? When I am lonely, will you be my friend? Will you be there for me? Comfort me tenderly. Will you share some of your feelings with me? If you will show me commitment, then I may learn to love as you do. Then I may learn to love.
Please be seated.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you to our hospitality, religious education, and behind-the-scenes worship volunteers. After our chalice extinguishing and postlude, Christmas Time is Here by Vince Guaraldi. This is a different guy. Guaraldi. Please help yourselves to coffee and snacks. All are welcome to continue the discussion. For those in person who wish to join our Zoom guests, they will continue in the library. Thank you again for being with us.
To close our service and extinguish our chalice, I share these words by the Reverend Heather Ryan Starr. May whatever gatherings or activities we engage in this Sunday afternoon or days to come help restore us, our connections to one another, our sense of hope, beauty, and fun in this world, our deep knowing that we have to take care of ourselves and each other with love and joy if we are to soulfully survive the world's mayhem.